Well, 2021 has been a bit of an up and down year in the cycling industry. And now we're ending the year and the sunset's going to set on 2021. And we're going to launch ourselves into 2022 that looks like it's going to be another big C year. Let's have a bit of a look back on what 2021 had to offer. What happened, what were the highs, and what were the lows? Well, in 2021, had a bit of drama, didn't we? For those guys that follow me, they know what I'm talking about, but I don't know if we really could accredit it to Pete Talk and Hambini, but they kicked off some fun for us YouTubers back probably about middle of the year, and they made a bit of a video about a certain company that some may refer to as my good old dad, because he liked to send me lots of letters and liked to send me some correspondence and keep in touch with me. And we had a bit of a going back and forth conversation, and that was my dad, Mr. AB, and he's a pretty nice fella, and he contacts me very often, and he had a few things to say about my videos, some of them probably not in the greatest of lights, but he did have some comments to say, and I hope you were entertained by that out there in YouTube land, because I certainly was. And then we had the very infamous recall by the Specialized SL7 with the steerer and the problems with the puck that goes in there that basically transitions the hydraulic cables through the steerer and down into the frame or into the front fork. And that caused a little bit of some raised eyebrows in the industry. And I don't want to pick on Specialized, because a number of manufacturers with the steerers have had to have recalls over the last few years. So it's not an isolated incident. But I think that in 2021, it really highlighted the fact that there may need to be some extra work done in the design of these steerers, because we've got quite a few designs out there where the different companies have got their own proprietary system, and I think it really needs to be sorted out to bring confidence back to the people buying these bikes, especially on the high-end bikes where they're paying a lot of money. And then we had the most anticipated release of the year, which is the Shimano 12-speed, and people didn't really know if this was going to be fully wireless or partly wireless, or if it was going to allow rim brake options or whatever, but it came out, and that was a really big release. Probably, I would say, probably the most anticipated release of the year. And I think Shimano probably waited a little bit to put that out because they were struggling to get product out the door, and there's been a bit of a shortage of getting any Shimano equipment for the whole of 2021. So it was really a bit of a what's coming next with Shimano. And even when this product came out, we saw a few reviews on it, but for most people it was very, very hard to get. So not many people really had the chance to ride this and use it and be able to appreciate this new Shimano 12-speed, because it was just so hard to get. And then, of course, there was the biggest problem with 2021, which was the shortage of equipment and parts. And that was a really big issue. So even if you wasn't in the market for buying a new piece of a kit, then you just couldn't even get spares to service your bike. And that was just a real problem. You go in there and you go, I want to put my bike in for service. And they'd say, hey, look, we haven't got any chains, we haven't got any of the cassettes, we haven't got any chain rings. They just didn't have anything, especially for Shimano. Shimano was really problematic for a lot of bike shops, so it made it really difficult, and it also made it hard to book stuff in because it was so busy, because people were basically getting their bike serviced and bike shops just couldn't cope. So this was one of the really big problems with 2021, is that it wasn't just the parts or the new bikes that were coming out of the factories. It was basically because of the year before there had been lots of lockdowns. They all got behind and were using up their stock that they have as a buffer, and this buffer had gone and they couldn't supply kit to the bike shops so they could keep people riding on their bikes. And this was just a massive issue in 2021 for people who own bikes, want to ride bikes, and also for the bicycle shops and the bicycle industry. Stock was just nowhere to be found. So in conclusion, guys, it's not been the greatest of years apart from a bit of entertainment from my good old dad AB. So we've had stock shortages where people not only not been able to get their dream bike even if they have got the money, or they just can't keep their bike on the road because even parts as simple as a chain were unable to be gotten by bike shops or supplied so you could get your bike serviced and you was worried about your chain getting too stretched and wearing out your Cashester chain rings because they were unavailable as well. Or if you crashed your bike, there was just really no way to fix it because stock just couldn't be had. Now, I hope everyone's got their new cycling New Year's resolution ready, and I hope you're going to keep getting out there on your bike. I know in the Northern Hemisphere it's winter, and that's not the nicest conditions to be riding bikes around. In some areas you have snow and that makes it very difficult to ride, so you're probably putting your feet up at this time of the year. But here in Australia, it's really hot and sunny, and even our winters are not that bad, so we can kind of ride all year round, which is really good, and I really have to say we're pretty lucky here in Australia because of that. But just to sign off on the video, last video for the year, I'd just like to wish you all the best in 2022, and I hope that your goals and everything you've set for 2022 come to fruition, and I will see you next year.